In January 2026, Amtrak put their USA Rail Pass on sale for half its normal price, only $250 for 10 segments of rail travel over 30 days. I put over 10,000 miles on a pass in 2025, so this year I talked a longtime friend into joining me on another epic train trip. This video is part 2 of that adventure. We'll be riding the Lakeshore Limited from Chicago to Springfield, Massachusetts, the Vermonter to White River Junction, Vermont, and an unplanned trip on the Hartford line in Northeast Regional 2. If you missed it, check out part 1 of this series covering my rides on the Coast Starlight and Empire Builder from Sacramento to Chicago, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss part 3. With an on-time departure, we are off into the night. When we were finally awake and mostly caffeinated the next morning, we were in New York. We would spend most of the day crossing the state. In Albany, the train splits, with one part going to New York City and the other continuing east to Boston. We're on the Boston-bound section. There goes our car. Where are you going with our car? Where are you going with our car? Back on board for our last few hours into Springfield, Massachusetts. Our standard corporate hotel room at least had a decent view of a bridge. Next morning, we skipped the $25 per person breakfast at the hotel and went off looking for something local. We found a little breakfast and lunch spot that had some of the best home fries I've ever had, and we both ate for less than $25. Really enjoyed the murals on many of the old buildings in the downtown area while we were walking around. That afternoon, we were off to White River Junction, Vermont, where we would be spending the night before returning to Springfield the next day. My third and unfortunately final historic hotel on this trip, the Hotel Coolidge. What a gem. Highly recommend it if you're ever in the area. Okay. Yeah, it's uneven, it creaks. So cool. We woke the next morning to light snow. The station in White River Junction was a great place to wait for our train back south. Love these old timetables. Although the snow stopped shortly after we started moving, the skies remained cloudy, which gave the views out the window a different feeling than on our trip north the day before. Partway through the trip up, I was checking my reservations for the next day's trains when I realized I had forgotten to book the leg between Springfield and Boston. Somehow I never noticed while looking at the itinerary in the app multiple times. Yes, I know, but I had a lot going on over the past few months. When I tried to book the Lakeshore Limited that my friend was on, because she was smart enough to book it months ago, it was sold out. I ended up booking the Hartford line to New Haven, Connecticut, and the Northeast Regional up to Boston. Back at Springfield Union Station, I got a short break before I had to leave my friend to wait for the Lakeshore Limited while I was off on my long way around trip to meet her in Boston. It had already been a long day. I spent most of the ride reading instead of filming. New Haven, Connecticut has a surprisingly large and nice station, pretty comfortable for the hour or so I was there. Not quite as comfortable on the platform waiting for the Northeast Regional to Boston. That wind was bitingly cold, and of course the train was predictably late. When I finally met up with my friend at South Station, we got a ride to our depressingly corporate hotel and crashed. The next morning found us at North Station, ready for a day trip on the Downeaster to Portland, Maine. That's coming up in part 3, which also covers the Northeast Regional to Philadelphia, sightseeing in Boston and Philly, and the last segment on the East Coast down to DC. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, and thanks for watching.